Welcome to episode 85.
Camino
Primitivo.
Preparations.
So join us as we talk about how we're getting ready for this wonderful event that's going to be taking place in a couple of months.
Join us as we share our preparations, including what sort of socks we're wearing.
and how we're physically preparing and spiritually and emotionally preparing. Stay tuned. Welcome to the Witchy Wit podcast, where we look at life through a witchy lens. I'm Kimberlyn.
I'm Leilani.
At Witchy Wit, we explore current events,
Ideas,
music and books,
and experiences in ways that recognize energy and life in everybody and everything.
We are both real witches.
And we bring two real perspectives through the lens of our different ages,
Races,
and backgrounds.
with a healthy skepticism for what we have been told is true. Our conversations are raw, candid, and vulnerable.
Join us as we cast a spell to uncover what we each know is true in our intuitive, witchy selves.
Welcome to episode 85. Camino Primitivo.
Preparations.
Woohoo! I'm excited about what we're going to be talking about because I'm excited about the Camino.
Yes.
But before we dive into all of that, let's check in, shall we?
Yeah, and I think this is a first. We're both checking in about the same thing.
Are we?
I think so.
Yay! So we're checking in on, I'm checking in, I'm referencing.
Me too.
I'm checking in about our first Patreon meet and greet.
Yes, it was live.
Yes.
We did a Zoom call, and we met with people who are supporting us over on Patreon.
Yay.
And it was so fun.
So much fun. It was so much fun. Yes. So actually, we can kind of check in simultaneously.
Yeah.
It was so much fun for me because, as we've said a number of times, we have fun recording, but sometimes we feel as if our voices are just going out into this void, and we get some feedback that people are listening to us and they like what we do, but we don't get a chance to actually sit with people who show that love in a number of different ways. They show us by supporting us, but then they show by coming and talking with us.
And they came and they talked.
Yes, they did.
And they shared their ideas.
Mm-hmm.
They shared ideas for new episodes.
Right.
They shared their feedback on their favorite episodes. They gave us some suggestions.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so interesting to hear what they had to say.
Yeah. It was really fulfilling for me. I think that's a word, because making these connections with people, particularly there was one person on the call that we already knew, but then there were people that we hadn't met before, and I think we might have had some contact on social media or something like that. But really being able to get like faces and names, and they got a chance to talk and ask questions, and we did too.
Yeah,
it was lovely.
It was so great, and I thought it was so interesting too how diverse everyone was on like how they identified as like witch or witch curious or not a witch, or like how they practiced as a witch, the type of lifestyle that they led, like what they were doing was different. It was just so neat.
It was so neat. And in fact, it's so neat that we're going to share some of that with everybody by letting them hear the voices of the people on the call. Yay! So you'll hear that now. Welcome to our first Patreon meet and greet. Yay! And I'm Kimberlyn.
I'm Leilani.
And we're recording from San Antonio, and we're so excited that you're here, and we'd love it if you give us a little bit of a shout out.
I'm Sierra, and I'm from New York, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm Monica. I'm from New Braunfels, Texas, and I'm excited to be here.
I'm Vanessa. I'm from Southern New Jersey, and I'm so happy to be here with these beautiful women.
And I'm Maggie from San Antonio, and I am very happy to be here.
I think you can sense the energy.
The energy
that
was
incredible.
Going on. It was really amazing.
Speaking of energy, we also sang.
We did. Oh yes, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, we sang a chant, and you drummed. Like and I love that we started singing, and you just like whip out your djembe, like. Just, of course, you always have it. I look now, and it is within arm's reach. And then this is something we've experienced in ritual. Whenever we were doing Zoom rituals, someone got kicked off of the call, which happens all the time whenever we were doing Zoom rituals over
That's
COVID.
right, because of the I think it's the energy. It's like Zoom just can't handle it.
They can't handle it.
And so someone's like, okay, oh, she's gone. oh, she's gone.
no.
But then she was back.
And then she was back, and I was
yay! Yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, one of the things that I loved about it was that they really enjoyed the podcast and they shared that with us. So one of the things we were asking, because we just wanted to get one of the things I was asking because I just wanted to get a temperature, is, you know, what did they respond to? But of course we asked, so what's your favorite episode? Like, tell us how you love us. I didn't realize how it would sound when we were originally thinking about it, you know, just to, you know, but there we go.
Right. Say your name and say what you love about me. But really, I think
no pressure.
We were really, whenever you suggested that question, I was sensing, say your name and also then share like an episode you connected with.
Yes.
You know, so that we could kind of get a dipstick on like where people are.
Yes.
But it did kind of come off as like, tell me what you think is the best thing about me.
I love it. Yeah. So, but they shared, and it was lovely, and and I thought the responses were so insightful. I mean, it wasn't just liked it, loved it. It reminded me of my mother. But you know that, I mean, in one case, they actually did love the episode of when we had your mom here.
Yes.
And but the reasoning for it, I thought, was really heartwarming to hear, and it showed a great deal of thought and intentionality in terms of their thinking.
Yeah, I was blown away by the depth of knowledge and wisdom that each of them had and shared. It was so insightful.
Yeah, yeah, it was lovely. So I think we're going to do that again.
I think it was so much fun. I got to tell you though, I was nervous going in.
I know you were. I remember you.
I felt like a elementary or middle school girl wondering if anyone was going to show up to my party.
I know.
But it was so much fun that I would be happy to do it again.
Oh, I would love to do it again.
I would love it.
Yeah.
So we'll do that again.
We'll do that again.
And we'll do this for the thing we're going to talk about for the first time this summer.
Yes.
Do you know that I got an email today saying it was, for us, it's 9 weeks away from the day that we're recording this.
Dang. Wow.
So here we go. Yeah.
Yes. In fact, someone I teach with, did the Camino over spring break, or did part of the Camino over spring break. So I'm going to have coffee with her next week, and she's going to share her experience. Yeah.
That's so cool.
And then, okay, I might as well say this too. And then I think I mentioned I have another friend who is doing it, who's going to be leaving in a couple of days.
Oh, wow.
And he sent all of his friends a QR code so we could follow his path, follow him as he goes. Like, he's going to put up pictures and stuff there, so people, you know, he's not like bombing us on Facebook or whatever. I mean, which he may also do, but it's people who are interested can go in and check.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's cool.
Yes. Yeah, so
that's cool.
You know, it's just amazing how I knew it existed, but until you said something, it reminds me of when you buy a car.
Yes.
Then all of a sudden you see your car everywhere. Yeah. But it's like people are coming out of the woodwork who love the Camino, who are doing the Camino, who just did the Camino, who are getting ready to do the Camino. So.
Yeah. That's not happening for me.
That's not happening for you? Really? No one?
No. I've had one person.
Who has done it.
Who has done it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's like the circles we travel in or something. Isn't that funny?
It's weird.
I mean, people is like, I can't turn around without spitting on somebody who's Camino connected.
I'm like posting stuff to social media, and I'm like using the word Camino de Santiago. I'm putting up the shell, like things that I'm hoping that then people will be like, oh, like, so excited for you. I did that, and no,
nothing.
One person. One person.
Meanwhile, I am not really good. No, I wouldn't say I'm not good with social media, but I don't actually go there that often, right? And I want to, but I just never. It's not in my routine. I don't think of it. So the one time I dipped and I do this. I go in for about a couple of hours, and I see stuff, and then I'm on there just enough so that people actually think I'm on there, and then they're pissed later. Like, I don't respond to half their things. But I go in for a couple of hours, and I bump into. I mean, there is someone who is posting pictures from when they did the Camino a few weeks ago. Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
Yeah. So
it is amazing. So instead of like your real life networking, your IRL networking,
yes.
I have networked through Reddit.
There
like
you
I'm
go.
on
That's
some
right.
Camino, some different Camino groups on Reddit, and then I've joined some Facebook groups.
There you go.
and then I've joined. Then I followed a couple of other accounts like on Insta and TikTok. So I do feel connected, and I do feel like I'm learning.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
But just not in the way. It's just a different way than you are with real people.
Real people whose feet have actually trod.
And you've gone like to their houses and had dinner or whatever.
Yes.
Like,
and in fact, I'm going to share something with you when I find my phone.
I think it's generational. I'm like, ugh, meeting up with people. I'll just follow them on Reddit and like ask questions there.
It's like 3D. Like they're like you can like smell their breath and stuff. Well, yeah. So most of these people are like my age. So we were born in a different simpler time. So yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this. So and this is another thing we were talking about prep for the Camino, and at the Patreon meet and greet, the questions that we got made us realize that while we're focusing on something more mundane preparations here, that we're actually doing other preparation too, right? More spiritual, more emotional, etc. And I hadn't thought about including that in there, but that's one of the things I love about talking to people.
Yeah, and it's been a huge part of our preparation. So maybe we'll first talk about the mundane preparations, and then we'll jump into the spiritual preparations. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So mundane preparations.
All right. So do you want to you came across this, I love this phrase. You want to talk a little bit about this?
Yes. So as I researched Camino preparations, one of the things that I kept bumping into on a bunch of the different subreddits and Facebook groups and other pages on other social media was this phrase. The best training for the Camino is the first 7 days of the Camino. Because one of the main questions people would ask would be like, how should I prepare for the Camino? And a lot of it is like people saying you can just show up and start, but we really suggest you break in your shoes, break in your socks, start walking with your pack, like all these things. And then there would always be someone, 4 or 5 comments down that would say the best training for the Camino is the first 7 days of the Camino.
Yeah. And because I can prepare here in San Antonio or go out to the Wilderness Park or whatever, and it's different terrain. The temperature is going to be different. I'm not going to actually walk 20 days in a row. So I'm still really not doing the, really truly preparing. And so there you go. I mean, it makes sense. However,
with that in mind,
both of us being people who like to inject an element of control over the experience.
Yup. Preach.
we're not depending on that type of attitude. We're doing a little. We're putting in a little we're front loading some work.
Yes.
Okay.
I love the way you put that, front loading some work. I know that I will be humbled by what we are doing, no matter what I do, because walking 8 hours a day for 20 days in a row is not available to me in this life.
That's right.
Like I work,
which is how you're able to pay for it.
Right. So I can front load some of it. And so that has been the attitude that I have had. Like, how can I do that to make the transition into what we're doing a little bit smoother?
In fact, yeah. And I was kind of joking, but we're also front loading some of the work by not actually paying for the work, right? So traditionally, not traditionally, but people often, when they do the Camino, carry all of their belongings on their back in backpacks and maybe a sleeping bag and things like that, and then they you walk, and then when you get to town you find an albergue and you get a room for the night, and then and sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. It depends on how crowded they are. So sometimes they end up sleeping by the side of the road, and then you get up and you do the same thing again the next day. And I'm not doing that.
Nope.
And it's a beautiful tradition, and in fact the woman that I'm going to be talking about later, who's given me so much information, that's the way she did it both times. We're not. So
3 years ago I did a 3-day backpacking trip through Big Bend, which is like a park in Texas, and I backpacked. I carried everything on my back, and that will be the last time I ever backpack. And I think I'm young-ish and spry.
You're very young and spry.
And
oh my God, you're very young and spry.
Thank you. Yeah. I feel it, but with my scoliosis, it's just I have scoliosis, so the pack doesn't sit level on me, and it like because of I have a hip tilt because of my scoliosis, and my gait is not symmetrical, so like the backpack like gets tilted, like it's just a big it's a dumpster fire of different things that makes it hard. And then on top of that, my back can't distribute weight correctly because my spine curves. So it's just, it hurts.
It's not a fun experience.
It is not. And it's not tiring or hard in the same way that it is for a person with a straight spine. It's like just compounded. So whenever I came to you and I asked, I felt judgment. I was judging myself. Whenever I came to you and I talked about the baggage transfer, and you were just so, I love the energy that you greeted me with, and you were just like, yeah, that sounds great.
I was like, yeah, somebody else carries my shit, I'm down. How much does that cost? Yeah, no, it was well, and I'm sure I could do it if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. It's not. So the woman I talked to, and we'll talk a little bit about this. It's like people who do a lot of ultralight camping, where they have all of these hacks so that they're carrying, they're like they have the lightest weight sleeping bags and this, that, and the other, and that's a part of the fun for her. No, I did that back in my teens and 20s, but I'm not doing that anymore.
No, thank you. And I love that we'll be carrying day packs that have some stuff in it, and when I'm on those groups that I've told you, like the subreddits and the Facebook groups and such, there is a sense, especially with the air quotes Camino de Santiago, because again, as our listeners know, I don't really feel like I'm doing the Camino de Santiago. I'm walking on that path alongside people who are, but I'm doing something different. But I sense that there is a group of people who say you should do this. The Camino de Santiago is where you walk with your pack.
You're not doing it if you're not doing it.
And you're not really doing it. You're like cheating it or whatever. But then I've also sensed, as I've read on these groups, there are people that are like, you show up and just simply because you are walking, you are doing it. And however it looks for you, that you're doing it.
That's exactly right.
There is no one way.
That's right.
So yeah, I've appreciated that energy, even though I don't really think I'm doing the Camino de Santiago per se, but I appreciate that energy, and it's given me some permission, like with the baggage transfer. Yeah. Do
you want to talk really briefly about how we're doing that?
The baggage transfer? Yeah, there's different courier companies that do it, and some are in Spain, some are outside of Spain, like in France or Portugal. Some are state-run, some are private. But through the company that we're going through, we'll have our bag, and then we just put a little tag on it with our name and our company's name, and then somebody comes up, scoops up the bags, and then drives them to the next place where we'll be staying, and drops them off, and they'll be waiting there for us.
Right.
And we have Apple tags.
We have Apple tags.
So I will be following my bag.
Where's our bag? Yeah, and a part of the company too is not just the luggage transfer, but they also we're not going to be staying in albergue. We're going to be staying in hotels, and they book all of that, so we don't have to worry about we got to get to town quick before the rooms fill up or things like that, and they're a little bit. I mean, we're paying for this, and they're going to be a little bit nicer than all of us in one room, and someone's coughing, and someone comes in late, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yes, that is the one person that I've talked to about the Camino. The one thing that he said was that it was really hard because they would be sleeping in the albergues, and people would be coming in and out, and people would be leaving early or coming in later, or getting up in the middle of the night, and their phone would flash, or or someone would be sneezing and coughing, or somebody would smell really bad. So,
that's right.
All of that. And he's like, it was really hard to get a good night's sleep because then we were tired the next day. And I'm like, I'm going to be sleeping in my little room.
That's right.
In our twin room.
Yes, we are. Yes, we will.
Yeah.
So, and they're also, they basically cover everything, like the airport transfers. We just tell them when we show up and tell them how long we want it to take. And they make that work.
Yeah, they did. And they also included as our breakfast at the hotel.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And then our dinner whenever we arrive.
Yeah.
The Pilgrim's menu dinner.
Yes, I love that.
Can I share what happened when we booked and we got like where we'll be staying? What I did?
Sure. Yes, please do, because this is a part of our preparation.
I created a spreadsheet, and
yes, she did.
And I put each stage and the name of the place where we'll be staying, and then I created a chart that had like, will this place have Wi-Fi? Does this place have air conditioning and heating? Will we have a shower or a tub? Like what are special amenities? Like some places have pools, some places have like balconies with scenic overlooks, like, so I did that. And then also I did like laundry. Does the place have laundry? And if they do laundry, is it self laundry or do we pay someone to do the laundry? So,
wow.
It was very fun.
It was, and it was very fun for me to just go in. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Let me look at the next page.
Oh, I also looked at breakfast because we have breakfast there, but continental breakfast can mean so many things.
It can.
So I wanted to know, some places continental breakfast is very small and other places continental breakfast is very large. So I wanted to know specifically. So I looked at pictures of what people had posted their breakfast was, and then I wrote down what people had.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, very organized.
Yeah, and I just want to say, like, because you say like we're staying in in hotels, like some places are kind of hotel-y, like the equivalent of a Super 8 or whatever over there. But some places, like we're staying in the monastery. We're staying in some like country, like some old houses that have been transformed into hotels in the countryside. Like some of our places, some of them look very like mass-produced hotels, but a good portion of them are mom and pop places that are very unique and quaint. And so that I like that, because while I would be okay with staying in just like chain hotels all the time, this makes it much better. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. In Italy, they call them pensions, because it's basically they take whatever building and then they make it work as a place for them to rent rooms or whatever. So, yay! I'm so excited about that.
I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. So,
can we talk about physical training?
Sure.
That we've been
for
doing?
sure.
So, how have you been physically training?
Okay, so I have been basically during the week. I walk my dog every morning, but he's 12 years old. He's almost 13, and so I call it a mosey with snow, and so we just kind of follow his pace, which is pretty slow. It takes us about 25 minutes to do 2/3 of a mile. So there you go. And then I bring him home, give him some water, and then usually what I will do is then try to get in during the week. Try to get in anywhere. It depends on if I'm teaching that day or not. Try to get in anywhere between 1 to 3 miles. So, and then on the weekend, I've been trying, but my schedule's kind of screwy, to do maybe like 3 to 5 miles on one day, and then another day to push it to like more than 5 miles. I haven't quite done that yet, but I'm working on that. So just walking. My training has been walking.
And then are you walking in the same shoes that you'll be hiking in?
I am. So you recommended, you had done some, okay, so as usual, you had done some research, you had gone to some groups and found out like the most recommended shoes or something.
Yes.
And so I got a pair, you got a pair, and I got a pair. Did we get the same color? Mine are blue.
Mine are blue.
Okay, yeah.
We're shoe buddies.
So yeah, I got those, and I think I like them, but I think I got wide because I didn't. Sometimes it makes a difference, and these are like wide. I mean, they were wide. They have a wide footbed to begin with.
Yeah.
And so I think I'm going to get another pair for the actual Camino, but I'll get it in advance and break them in.
Nice.
Yeah, but basically just walking and just trying. What I'm hoping to do is one day per weekend between now and the time we go is to just keep pushing it until I'm walking a full day. But nice. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. In contrast. And this is one of the things I love about us is that we have so much fun together. We're so different.
We're so similar. But we're also so different.
Yeah.
But I feel like we're so similar in so many ways, but we are so different in other ways.
Yes. And here is one. How would you happen to be able to tell us, Leilani, how you're training?
So I created a chart. And because I want to be transparent. I hate running. There is not much in the world that I just strongly dislike. Like I have a distaste for it, but I dislike running. I've never liked running, and part of that. Do you run? Yes, out of patience, fucks, and money. That is the quote that your friend has on your coaster. Perfect. I agree. And I think part of it comes from I have scoliosis, so my legs are different lengths, my hips are tilted, so my gait is off. So when I run, like I don't run evenly, it causes me pain, joint pain. It's never been good. Running has never been good for me. And all those people who like get runner's highs, I envy them.
Oh my God. Yes. I've never got, and I ran because I wanted to do a triathlon, but I never loved it. I love the feeling of having done it.
Yes.
But I pretty much hated every moment of it.
Yeah. And I don't like it. The whole time it is not an enjoyable or even like neutral experience. The whole time it's like negative. Yeah, but you know,
and having said that,
I decided to do it because here's the thing: I don't have the time. I choose other things to do than to walk for 8 hours for 20 days in a row to prepare, and that's what I read. A lot of the prep groups are like, walk as much as you can, go for 8-hour walks on the weekends. Like, I'm not going to do that. Or go for 8-hour walks during the day and walk consecutive days and blah blah blah. I love that. But that's just not going to fit into my life. So I created a chart, and I started in September with, I have 30 minutes. And so each month I started with walking at a brisk rate for 30 minutes. And then each month after that, I've added 5 minutes of running into the middle. So now I've reached peak running. So that was in September. So I did October, November, December, January, February, March. So I've reached peak maximum running. So now I increase the intensity of the running by doing it, by increasing the incline, as well as carrying a pack and adding weight to my pack.
Wow.
So I do that multiple times during the week.
Wow.
So that's my preparation.
Wow. I didn't realize you added a pack.
Yeah, my pack that I'm carrying, my day pack. So I have that so that it's on me whenever I'm running, and then adding some weight into it so that it mimics And then I'm also wearing the socks that I have the socks that I'm going to wear, and I also have the shoes that I'm going to wear. Good. And I have an insert in my left leg is shorter, so I have an insert into that to help me get used to that, because that helps with my joint pain and the leg length. So that's how. And then in addition, I do my handstands, and I do my acro, and I do my dancing. Like a couple episodes ago, I mentioned that I danced for 8 hours. So that's prep too.
So and I want to see on one, because there's some places where we're actually cresting a hill. I want you to do a handstand on one of those hills, and I want to get the background of the rest of the Camino as you're doing the handstand.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yay!
Absolutely.
Yay! So we're physically getting ready,
and I know that nothing that we're doing is going to make it like what we're going to be doing.
Exactly.
But we are front loading as much as we can.
Yeah, I want to decrease the potential for crapping out. It's maybe a little fear based or whatever. And I don't want to hold you up. I don't want to hold you back.
I don't want to hold you back. We keep talking about this, and I keep saying I don't want to hold you back. I'm worried about holding you back.
Well, so I will talk to you a little bit about that as we talk about some of the things that I've learned from people who have done this. So that's less of a concern than than we have made it.
Well, I love that.
Okay, good.
That's true.
Yeah. So, so you had mentioned the shoes, and that you had done some research on shoes, but you've also done some other research. Would you care to share?
Yes. So whenever we decided we looked at different companies that work with the Camino, and we looked at a number of them, and then we selected one that we really liked. And one of the things that we liked about this one is that a lot of the companies end in Santiago, and then they don't continue.
Oh, right.
And
right.
so the one of the reasons we really like this one is this one supported us going from Santiago to Finisterre.
Yes.
So that was a big plus.
Yes. And also, I feel like I'm like teaching when I'm like feeding the questions and they're like, what? But you didn't, okay, so would you care to share a little bit about some of the other things that you bought?
Oh, some of the things we purchased?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think one of the first things that I wanted to get was trekking poles. Now, again, I told you I'm a part of all these Reddit subreddits and Facebook groups, and there are strong opinions on trekking poles.
Oh, really?
Some people hate them.
Like hate they're using them or hate anybody using
both.
them? Really?
Yes, they hate people using them. They hate the sound of them because they click whenever you walk. Like they're just very strong emotions. These are the similar people who are like, if you don't carry your pack, you're not doing that.
Okay, gotcha.
Like
okay.
just people have.
Kind of like purists.
Yeah.
Like King Alfonso II didn't have trekking poles.
Right. He did not. But he also didn't take a bath or have medical care.
But also King Alfonso II had like an entourage to carry his crap as he was.
That's true.
We are assuming really walking, but we don't know.
Right.
So yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So. It's like you don't really want to duplicate everything the original walkers of the Camino did.
Yeah, I'm grateful that I'd have a flu shot.
Yeah. And then we have soap as opposed to just putting on more perfume, which is what they did.
Right, yeah.
So so there we go.
So one of the first things that I got were trekking poles, and learned how to use them. And that's another pro tip is that people kept saying, learn how to use them correctly.
Yes, and you sent me actually you sent me a couple, remember you sent me one video and that one sent me to a couple of other videos. So that was really useful. And I've watched them. I actually haven't practiced them yet, but.
And then I was there's a park downtown that's near the gym that I train at.
Okay.
And I was driving by the park and I saw someone walking with trekking poles. And I noticed that they were walking incorrectly with the trekking poles. And like not in a judgy way, not in like moron, learn how to, but like in a, hey, like I know enough to know how to walk with them, and I can tell that they are not, they just haven't learned yet.
That's not their jam. Yeah. But you've internalized it enough that you can really good.
It was exciting to me. I was like, yay, I know how to use them. So whenever we're on the path, like I'll be using them.
Yeah, and you'll be able to help me.
Yeah,
just in case I forget. So yay. So I have a friend who has done the Camino twice, and she invited me to her house to just. I mean, she just is really gung ho about this, and so she wanted to share some of this and. It was so great talking to her. First of all, when I got there, did I tell you any of this?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Just that she laid stuff out.
Yeah, she had laid stuff out. So, but she also prepared lunch and she prepared foods that you would get in Spain on the Camino.
I just want to say, like, it seems like her, like the fervor with which she is excited to share is something that is common amongst a lot of people who have done it. I love that.
I think so. I think so because people, after they've done this, they go back and I forget what they call them, but there's like hôpitalier or whatever, where they actually work on the Camino. Then I mean, they volunteered and just they're there for however long, a week or two or whatever. So it's there's some people who are feeling a great deal of zeal and ardor and fervor, and they feel like it's been such a huge reward for them spiritually, emotionally. So I it's just exciting to just like be with someone who is that passionate about it.
I love communities that I did not know anything about, and I love, even if it's not my thing, I think it's super cool to know that there are these communities of people who are passionate about something, and getting to step inside and look, like to pull back that curtain to see is such a treat. Right. And I'm excited to join this community.
Oh, me too. So anyway, I'm not going to give all of because I don't think people really care, but she had a counter, I would say maybe 10 feet long. I suck with distances, with all of like backpacks that she's done. So she's done it twice. Oh, and I'll tell you how she went the first time. The first time, and this gives me such inspiration. The first time she went was with with a group of women that they knit together, and this woman said she wanted to turn 70 on the Camino.
I love that.
and she had never hiked or anything, this woman. And so my friend said, "Oh, I'll go with you." It was kind of like us, where it's like where you said, "I want to do the Camino." Oh, okay, sure, let's do it.
What's that?
Yeah, okay, let's go. Yeah. So it's and she's now been twice. So there was a group of 5 of them who had gone, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. But anyway, so she'd gone twice, and so she had different backpacks, and she'd played with certain things. And so the second time she went with her husband, and they kind of figured out stuff that she wanted to do. And I thought that was so useful because she had things like, so one of the things that she did, I don't think this is necessarily going to be an issue for us, but one of the things she noted was that when you get to the albergues, there's showers and things like that, but if you want to wash your clothes, she said there's usually like one little sink and everyone's lined up to wash their clothes at that sink. So what she did was she took her shower with her clothes on, and she had like a little brush and some soap, and she would just kind of like scrub the spots on her clothes and then take the clothes off and then do her own body. Isn't that like amazing?
That makes so much sense to me.
Yes, yes. I mean, I just found that, so, I mean, it's like, wow, there we go. And the other thing that she said, and this might not be an issue, but it's definitely one in the albergue, sometimes, and like they're timed, so it might be like a minute and a half of water, but you'd have to keep pushing the button, or in some cases feeding it money to get more water. So, just little tips like that, things that, it wouldn't even have occurred to me.
I love that. That's so cool.
Oh yeah, so cool. And things like she's donated to our cause a ring of safety pins.
Aww.
And it's because you don't realize how often you could use them. So for example, one time she had washed clothes and either there was no dryer or something like that, or it was too cold for the clothes to dry. So she pinned them to her backpack the next day, and the sun dried them on her backpack. I mean, it's, things like that. It's like, so it was very exciting for me. And then she had recommendations for backpacks that we'll talk about later. I won't bore everyone with that. And some other things too that she just mentioned and just kind of in passing stuff. But I thought it was first of all just really informative, because a whole lot of things that it didn't even occur to me to think about. And then she mentioned it. And oh yeah, thank you. But thank you for sharing, and things like that. Like, she had like a little camping clothesline, the kind where it's like 2 woven together and you pull them apart.
I have that.
And then,
for us to use in our hotel room.
It's fabulous. So there we go. So like things like that, I wouldn't have even thought about that. So, something else that she said that, one of the things that a lot of people had problems with were blisters, and she always wore sock liners. And then she said she got like a little bit of like a pushback with some of the people she was walking with, because at lunchtime she always switched them out. Because one of the things she said is that it's not so much the friction, but it's the friction when your socks are wet.
It's friction plus moisture.
And moisture, yes, there you go. So you know all of this stuff.
Well, but only because I have been listening to podcasts and the subreddits and stuff.
So we got them from different places.
Are you doing sock liners?
I hadn't thought about it, but I think I'm gonna try them and see what happens.
I'm doing wool socks.
Yes, she recommended that.
I have a particular wool socks that I purchased that I've been wearing in my shoes as I run, and then I'm gonna do Vaseline on my feet.
Ah, okay.
Like a thin coat of Vaseline in the morning.
Which is nice because it's actually emollient for your
skin. Yes,
so
right.
It's like going to the spa.
Yeah, okay. It's the Camino spa.
So anyway, she just wonderful recommendations. The other thing is she said make sure that you have like shoes that you can once you get to town, so you can air out your shoes, and she had recommendations for that too. So we could talk. It was just really fascinating, and then let me just tell you about her duct tape. So one of the things, like the safety pins, duct tape, she said it's going to be super, super important. One time, she never needed it, and then the other time she used it a lot. You never know, because you can use it to tape up your backpack or things like that.
Yeah, like your sole falls off your shoe. You duct tape the sole to your shoe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but she said, who wants to carry around a big thing of duct tape? Because she's the ultralight person. So she had like a toothpick type of thing, and her duct tape wrapped around that. So it was like the size of maybe a tooth, or like the size of a pen.
Yeah.
And that had like, I don't know, tons of yards of duct tape on it.
I've heard of people wrapping around their trekking pole.
So oh my gosh.
It there.
See?
I love that we're like learning, but in different ways.
Yeah. Like, this is amazing. And then, and then the one thing that she said that was really heartening for me. And she said, no matter what, if you forget something or if you decide that what you have doesn't work, that the Camino is an industry, and whatever you want, camping wise, clothes wise, supplies wise, they have it there.
Do you know what I even heard? Because so we're doing the Primitivo, which is like if you're doing the Camino Frances, you're going through main areas most of the time. The Primitivo is slightly different. Like we're going to be farther away from that sort of civilization. Although we're not going to be like in crazy far away. Yeah. But there's even like I've even read about on the Primitivo. There's some people have set up vending machines in their yards for pilgrims.
I love it. That's,
like vending machines that sell water or snacks or Band-Aids or, whatever it is, bug spray. Yeah. But I just think that's something that helps me is like, I'm going to bring what I think I will need, but also know that there will, like, I'm not going to be in the middle of the Amazon jungle. In the wilderness,
yes, that's right.
Like there will be things.
Yes, there will be things. And you're helping the local economy, right? Yeah. And, that idea that while we're walking this in their own way, small or large, they're kind of supporting us, right? These are people who are kind of lending us a little bit of their energy, right? By just having that, snack bar or whatever.
A vending machine in their yard.
Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. So
I have enjoyed. I don't know if our listeners can tell, but I do enjoy research and I do enjoy a good spreadsheet. So I did create like a list of things that I wanted to have for the Camino. And then I've been purchasing them very slowly and I've been able to get like a lot of stuff used or discounted. And so I've been really excited. I have a box that I've been purchasing and I even brought it over to show you.
Yes, I know. That's why, yes.
Even down to like, I purchased my journal that I'm going to carry with me. And it has a friend of mine made the sticker that is the shell turned to the side, the sun in the west. And so I put that on the front of it, so it's ready to go. Yay! I'm just very excited.
And I think I would imagine that all those little preparations are part of the experience, right?
For me, it is. Yeah.
Anticipatory. So,
yeah, for me, when today I found my travel charger. I found it at a discounted store that I went to, and I purchased it today. And so, like, it just makes me really happy. I'm like, yay, I have my travel charger for my iPhone and my earbuds and my Apple Watch. Like, this is great.
Yay! Pretty exciting.
One of the only things that we really had to do other than, like, all of our travel preparation for the Camino is to get our credencial. I think that was really the only thing. And you don't actually have to do that ahead of time. You can do that there. But I'm glad we did it ahead of time. But we filled out some forms and then sent it in, and then eventually in the mail we got these.
Yes. So, may I?
Yeah.
So they're like passports, really. The idea being is that how do you prove you've done the Camino when you get to Santiago and you want to get your certificate? And so it's a long kind of accordion pleated cardstock that it looks very much, if you look at one page of it, it looks very much like a passport page. And so when you get to your albergue or if you stop for lunch, you can have them stamp that, and it just follows you along the path. I'm so excited about it.
And so on the front of it, it says Credencial de Peregrino, which is like the pilgrim's credential. And it shows like a pretty famous like bridge system that was built by the Romans, if I remember correctly, over a river. But then when you open it up, it's like you said, the empty pages. But there is a section that has like a place for your name and where we're from and the dates that we'll be walking. And then
there's the Pilgrim's Prayer, which if you are doing the Camino de Santiago, is really beautiful and probably very, very meaningful. And if you're doing what we're doing, which is not the Camino de Santiago, it's interesting. And and not our jam.
Yeah, I find it incredibly interesting from a historical perspective. And to our listeners, you can go back and listen to our episodes about the history of the Camino and the pre-Christian history of this route.
Right.
And so from that perspective, I read it and I said, that makes sense to me.
And we can appreciate
historically,
it.
yes.
Yeah, we can appreciate it. But that's not what we want to, or that's not what I would like as the prayer that I'm going to be holding in my heart as we do the Camino, right?
Samesies.
So, basically, Leilani sat down and translated it, changed it, transformed it into something that better reflects us.
Yeah, and I read the Christian prayer, and then I looked at what it was going for, like calling out to their creator and requesting things from that creator for their purpose. And so then I said, who would I call out to? Who or what? Because we eventually decided on the creatrix and the elements and the ancestors and the descendants. And then what would I be calling out for? How would I be calling out? And to what ends am I seeking?
And you wrote this down,
and so then
gorgeous.
Yeah, so then I made a rough draft, and then you and I got together, and we perfected it.
We tweaked it. There we go. But shall I read a little bit of the original, or would you like to?
Yeah, I think if you wanted to read a little bit of their original.
Look at it there. That's very small and dark. God, you called your servant Abraham from Ur in Chaldea, watching over him in all his wanderings, and guided the Hebrew people as they crossed the desert. Guard these your children who for love of your name make a pilgrimage to Compostela. Be their companion on the way, their guide at the crossroads, their strength in weariness, their defense in dangers, etc., etc., etc. Very beautiful, very evocative, etc. This is the prayer that was found in the Codex Calixtinus, and that's it's a codex that has a lot of history and some ritual, and it's kind of serves for centuries. It served really as a guidebook for the Camino.
Oh, you're so smart.
Yeah, like
you just know so much. You're so cool.
No, I don't. You had it written down somewhere.
But I don't know. I wrote it down, but I don't know what it meant.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So, but yeah, so it really, so people, it had information about that. It had the prayer. It had the kind of the doctrinal function of the Camino, that it's a pilgrimage, and that by taking this pilgrimage, you're getting yourself an indulgence, pretty much, So instead of a poem, we're going to read our version of this.
Creatrix, we feel your energy tying us to the ancestors and descendants, calling on the elements as we travel from east to west, to where the earth meets the sea, meets the sky, to meet the dead. We honor that the path we tread upon has a rich, long, and diverse history, that we are taking our place within.
We call upon the powers of air to blow the winds of change across our hot skin and illuminate our minds as we question, learn, and speak.
We call upon the powers of fire to ignite the flame of fierce passion within us and around us, and guide us as we travel under the fiery sun's path across the sky. As it dips below the horizon, we call upon the blazing stars to continue to light our way.
We call upon the powers of water to quench our thirst from seeking, and to hold the deep mysteries of the dead within our hearts.
We call upon the powers of earth to support and protect us, and encourage us to relish each moment as we journey along her path.
Through our earthly and sacred journey, may we arrive at the end of the world and the beginning of the next.
Answering this call to our souls, we stand in that liminal space, as many have done before us over the years and centuries and millennia. Enriched with your magic, Creatrix and the elements, may we return to our lives forever changed and eternally connected to the ancestors and descendants, and to the past, present, and future.
So mote it be.
I have goosebumps.
I know.
That's the first time we've read it out loud.
Yeah, that's pretty. Damn, you're a smart girl. That's amazing. And I'm gonna print that out, and we're gonna figure out how to get it in our.
We can get that in our in our
credential and put it in sideways, and then not let them see it when they're trying. What's this stuff?
Right?
Well, it's in English, that
Yeah.
So it should be a problem. Yeah, beautiful.
I feel like that really encapsulates what we've been talking about this journeying to the end of the world to meet the dead, and this connection of liminal space with past, present, and future, and daytime and darkness, and this mundane journeying of like our feet are walking, but this spiritual journey that we're going on at the same time.
Right. And the fact that for me, we're doing this in our way, and millions of people have done it before us, and millions of people will do it after us, and we're a link.
Mm-hmm.
We're our own special link, just as all of the others are special links, right? In this fabulous chain that is this commitment to whatever you choose to be. In my case, it's a commitment to the work that I can do as I'm walking and walking and walking.
We'll keep walking.
We'll keep walking.
And that kind of ties into one of the things that we talked about earlier in the episode, where we wanted to just mention that the preparation has not just been the mundane or the physical, but we've also been doing spiritual preparation.
Yes. And probably individually, I know I have, the credenziale has been sitting on my altar and in front of my shells that someone gave me. And next to a candle, so the light of the sun is like the light of the flame, the light of the flame. But we've done some work as individuals in our group, right?
Yeah. We had it was our Samhain ritual,
mm-hmm.
where I was on the ritual team, and so were you,
mm-hmm.
and we created a ritual around the concept of walking to the end of the world. And we actually ritualistically created an altar with rocks, because the Finisterre is very rocky, with rocks.
The thing that your sister made, which was this huge, it was not chiffon, but kind of misty
mm-hmm.
Curtains that had lights on them. So it was like the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. That was when she first plugged that thing in, I think I lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just so like that idea of the Compostela, the campus of stars, right?
Yeah.
Oh
and by the way, we mentioned that in our poem. So
yes,
just
yes.
everybody, that was in the poem on purpose.
Yes.
To the stars. But yeah. So we had we tried to recreate in an altar way the end of the world with the rocks and the lights and the water, and that liminal space with that barrier with the beloved dead on the other side. And then during the ritual, we walked, and we walked in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
We walked in that circle, and we sang a chant that you had written.
Mm-hmm.
With some of the words were "keep walking,"
mm-hmm.
and we walked, and then when we felt called, we would go to the edge
mm-hmm.
to the edge of the world,
mm-hmm.
and then we were actually invited by one of our sisters,
mm-hmm.
Who was aspecting the dead. And we crossed over, and we spoke with her. She spoke with us.
It was amazing. It was. I think it was like it hit all of my senses. I think because the lights and the in the water and the rocks and all of that. So it was very sensory. It was
mm-hmm.
a sensory experience for me, and because we had been doing some of this work, there was my own personal element in addition to what we were doing as a group. That was just incredibly powerful for me.
One of my favorite things about the ritual is when we were meeting with the beloved dead, the woman in aspect offered us this piece of it's I don't want to call it yarn, but it was like a yarn, but it was like natural.
Mm-hmm.
It was made of natural mm-hmm. fibers, so a natural fibrous yarn,
mm-hmm. Wool,
and wool. And then we, as we were doing our work with her. She was doing the work with us, and we were doing the work with her. We tied it to this longer strand, as a way of being connected to that side. And we'll be taking the ashes, so we'll be burning that, and then we'll be taking those ashes with us. As is a tradition, like we've spoken before about how people have carried rocks to the end of the world. Like we'll be carrying these ashes with us and then spreading them there as a way of completing our magic with our circle here and tying that into our magic that you and I will be doing there.
I love it so much. Yeah. And I love the fact that, what the initial intention came out of our individual work, and it became such a meaningful ritual for the group. And I suspect each woman's experience was going to be dramatically different because what she was bringing to it. But I just loved how they said, "Oh yeah, let's do that." It was like, okay,
all right. Well, we're going to be doing this, so let's do this here. Okay.
So yeah, it was amazing, and so I think a part of this is that. Yeah, we're talking about getting trekking poles and our shoes and walking or running or whatever so that our bodies are fit. But I feel as if emotionally and spiritually, I'm already kind of moving into it, right? In and out, depending on how busy my day is. But, kind of preparing, not unconsciously, but preparing in my own way.
Yeah. And those episodes that we've done that have been research-based, those have also really helped me. I found myself talking to Janice.
Oh my gosh!
And I see the druids on the top of Mount Facho. Knowing that we're going to end there.
We're going to be there, and
that's really important to me. Like going up to the top of that Mount Facho and knowing that the druid temple was there, and so like just. Ways of researching and connecting to the past have enriched my spiritual journey with it.
For sure.
Well, thank you for joining us as we talk about our Camino preparations, both the mundane, the spiritual, even down to poetic.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
We hope you have enjoyed the magic that has unfolded here at Witchy Wit.
It would be great if you would help make Witchy Wit possible and get access to exclusive content by donating on Patreon.
We'd love it if you join our Witchy community and enjoy shareable content on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Would you do us a big favor and support us by rating and reviewing us wherever you get your podcasts? It's free and helps witchy folks find us.
Feel free to email us at witchywitpodcast@gmail.com. We love to hear from our community. Reach out and let us know what's brewing in your cauldron.
New episodes are released every second and fourth Friday. Follow us on your favorite podcasting platform so our episodes go right to your playlist. You can listen as you ride your broom.
Stay witchy, y'all!